Hi everybody, welcome to another Facebook Live with Jeannie. I'm Jeannie Nielsen, the Card Lady, and I'm live again. I'm enjoying going live this week. I have lots of ideas, so many ideas. This week's ideas are super simple. You can duplicate these cards. I was actually going through my designer paper. I was actually prepping for my team meeting on Sunday, and one of the cards was really, really easy, and it used the Ringed with Nature designer paper. That may not be the name of it, but it's the free celebration paper that you can get right now. I don't have it handy, and I'm not going to run off camera this time. I think I've got everything else here with me. But anyway, this is free with a $50 order, and it's got some beautiful designs in it. One of my favorites, and I'm gonna show you, this is already prepped, and this is going to give you a clue as to what the front of my cards are going to look like, is this beautiful print, the houses. I'm thinking, boy, this would be great. This would be a great welcome to the neighborhood card. This would be a great from my house to yours card. There's a sentiment, I think it's the Charming Sentiments. It has something like sending smiles across the miles. That might even be Sending Smiles, the stamp set. But anyway, there are so many ideas. I have a customer that's a realtor, and I was thinking, you know, you have great potential here with this designer paper. You can make all these cards, welcome to your new home. Our neighborhood is constantly turning over. People moving, people buying, people selling, and what a nice thing to be able to welcome them with maybe a basket or box of cookies or bread and a really nice homemade card. So that's what I plan to do today. I'm going to show you 3 seasonal variations that I came up with. These are all simple. One of them I realized, you know, one of the things that I've done, I realized I really didn't need to do because it's almost hidden anyway. But anyway, we're going to do it anyway. I'm going to flip down. You're going to see what I'm doing. All of these use the Scallop Contours dies, the largest die, the one that is almost the size of the card front. I cut it out of basic white cardstock. Then I cut a 4.5 by 3.25 inch piece of designer paper, and I attached that to the front. So that's on all of these cards. But I have 4 different seasons. I have a spring or a summer one. I have one that's good for Christmas, I'm thinking, and I have one that's good for winter. Because right now it's 90+ degrees here in Lynnfield, Massachusetts. Very, very hot, very, very humid, which makes it feel even hotter. So I'm downstairs in my nice cool stamp room, but we need to think cool. So we're going to by making a card that would be perfect for Christmas or winter. So let me flip down. We're going to get to it. I realized that I didn't tally the scoops for this week, for this past week in my studio. What I've decided I'm going to do is just give first names of the people, and I'm going to put on my Facebook page the number of scoops on Friday morning that everybody wins or has earned. I already gave you a tally for last week, but for this week I'll give you a new tally. For the people that have placed orders this week, come to classes, come to events, and they get scoops for that. Okay, so let's scoop. I'm going to go down, and hopefully, oh, there's the wrench. Let's go. Okay, so here I cleaned off my desk, and I think I'm ready to go. Here is my host code for July. Enter the host code and place at least a $40 order, and you get a scoop in my store. You place a $50 order, and of course you get a scoop that gets you a $50 gift certificate in my store, but it also gives you celebration products. So let's start. I'm going to start with this one since I have it on top. This is an evening evergreen card base, 5.5 by 8.5. I've already scored it at 4.25. I have taken a piece of designer paper. This designer paper is 4 by 5.25 inches. Now, I don't know if you recognize this folder or not, but this is the Wintry folder. The Wintry folder is actually a half-size folder. I don't think I brought it here because I'd already embossed, but it's a half-size folder. So what I did was I put in half of the paper, and then I reinserted the other half, and I figured, and you can see the line right down the middle where it actually went. but that's not going to matter because I'm going to be putting some ribbon over top of that. So you're not even going to see that score line that's in there, or that it's not really a score line, but the embossed line. And it really is, actually, this one happens to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It looks like it's the perfect size of the card front. And that wasn't intentional, but since that's what I have here, that's what we're going to use. So I'm going to start by attaching that here to my card front, my card base. I love my multi-purpose glue, especially for something like this. I feel like it gets in all the cracks and crevices better than you would if you had Seal or Seal Plus. I meant to do this, like I said, I meant to do 4 by 5 1/4, but obviously I took a piece out of the drawer and I didn't even measure it, didn't even realize that it was the same size. So there we go. And I've already attached my first. I'm going to make 2 more cards so you'll see what I'm doing. But this is, like I said, the largest scallop contour base. And this is a piece of designer paper from the Ringed with Nature, the free celebration. It might not be called Rings of, maybe it's called Rings of Nature. The free celebration paper that you can get with a $50 order. I love this pattern. If you don't recognize it, the back of the pattern is this. It looks like medallions or tiles. And it also looks to me like snowflakes and Christmas. But anyway, I've already attached this. What I'm going to do is, for this one, I chose a ribbon because I want it to look like Christmas. So I chose this red and green ribbon. I'm going to put this right around here. I'm going to tie it right around the entire card base. Obviously through the inside, not the entire card. I'm not tying the card closed, but you guys know what I'm talking about. This is the red and green holiday ribbon that's in the mini, and it ties beautifully. Look at how nicely that ties. So pretty. I take my paper snips and cut that and kind of slide that. I actually think I want to slide it to this side, right there. But we'll see. We will see. So, and I'm going to have to do it all the way to the edge and kind of flip it to the side because I have to fit my scalloped contour. What would probably work best, and maybe I'll do that next time, is also I could actually thread it through those holes. But if I thread it through those holes, oh well. You know what? We're going to attach it with dimensional. We'll attach this sheet with dimensionals to the card base, and then it won't be a problem. I'm not using many because it turns out that I don't have a whole lot of dimensionals here for my Facebook Live. I just opened a new package, but they're on the other side of the room. Let's just go like that, attach that. I'm going to attach this over top. And then you know what I did? I have here, peeling this off. I have here, I was going to actually cut it, and this goes with the Christmas to Remember in the Christmas season. Remember these from last year? They have beautiful dies. And the Christmas to Remember dies, the seasonal labels, has these pine dies. I took the one out that I used. But I have a little pine branch in here that I just cut, and I'm going to put that in the corner. And I have here from the Christmas season labels, the seasonal labels, I took probably, is it the smallest one? It's the one just smaller than this. So just the third smallest label of that. I'm going to stamp that here with some soft suede ink. And I chose this stamp from the Ringed with Nature stamp set. There's all kinds of things. I could have done Merry Christmas. Very easily I could have done Merry Christmas, except I want to do something that's going to fit in the label universally across all 3 of my cards. So I'm going to say Love and Warmth right here. Going to stamp that right there. Not bad. I don't know if it's straight or not because I'm not over top of it. But what I'm going to do is put that down here in the corner, and then I'll pop up my pine branch next to it. Okay, so we need more dimensionals again. This is how my craft room gets really messy. I start piling things up. You saw my desk when I first flipped down. It was nice and clean. And already, I'm, 5 minutes into this, and I'm already making a mess. So, and then I decided, see, I don't have to peel off the center one, but let's do it like this. I'm going to put it like this, love and warmth, and then I'm going to just add a little bit of glue, or maybe, do I even have a mini dimensional? I guess I don't have my mini dimensionals here because I use them. Here, let me just cut a little piece of dimensional right there, almost like a mini. I'm going to put that in the center here. I'm going to attach that just like, you know, this is going to work because you know what I just realized? Let me move that. I didn't mean to put it quite so close. Let's move it a tiny bit. There we go. Just like that. And then, oh, I'm so excited about this. Haven't even used these yet. These are the flat Jingle Bell accents. Trinkets, flat Jingle Bell trinkets. And I'm going to take one of those, at least I think one, maybe two. Oh, I do have my mini dimensionals right here. Look at that. That's what happens when I clean up. Maybe two. We can put that right over top of the dimensional, and you're not even going to see that I'm hiding a dimensional. So, and what would be nice is if I had added a little bit, let's do this just because I have to hide that it should have some twine or something through it. We're going to put a little knot of this red ribbon again over top with another glue dot. Once again, I don't know how this card is going to turn out, but it's actually not too bad. What do you think, guys? Not too bad for a nice, quick card. So you cut your scalloped contour, your contour die, card front size die, 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 paper. I've got the ribbon. I embossed this layer. I like to emboss an extra layer rather than actually embossing the card base because I feel like it weakens the card base. So we're going to go like that. And then I've got my, from the Christmas season and Christmas to Remember dies, the pine dies. I just cut a little sprig of that, cut it off. And, you know, a 4 1/4, you know, a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of cardstock that is cut with these dies will cut you 3 sprigs, and you cut them apart, you've got 3 cards already ready to go. Probably the biggest time sucker right here is cutting this die and then taking out all the little pieces. It's not that it's hard to take out the little pieces, but it is a little bit time consuming. So anyway, that's card number 1. Now, I decided I saw other colors in here. I don't know about you, but to me, I saw Starry Sky in here. And I was thinking that what I would like to do is do it one on a Starry Sky base. Same thing, same idea. I've already got my designer paper cut. I'm going to just attach that. Boy, it would be pretty to attach this, but I'm keeping it consistent and I'm focusing on the houses this time. And like I said, perfect for somebody moving into a new home. It could be somebody setting up a home, maybe somebody that's getting married. You could do a card like this. That would be pretty. Especially if you're not invited to the wedding, but you want to acknowledge that they're getting married. Just buying a new home, maybe retiring to a vacation home, who knows? All kinds of ideas. Anyway, so what I was thinking is this would be pretty. I was thinking about putting this on a base. I was thinking about actually embossing this with a snowflake die, and I didn't do that ahead of time. And so I'm not going to, and I don't think that you really need to, because a lot of this is covered up with the size of this die. So when I put this on there, I really don't even need that layer. So you know what? I'm going to set that aside for now. Next, I was thinking, okay, so what ribbon could I use for here that would make it look more like Christmas? You know, from my home to yours. And I had two ideas. And one of these was this trim, which is really, really pretty. I think this trim, though, is better for like 3D tying up your basket or your little bag of cookies that you're going to give them. That will match this beautiful flat ribbon. This one is a little bit bulkier, and I really don't want to bulk up the card too much. So I've decided I'm going to use this beautiful glittered organdy ribbon that has returned from last year. Let me tell you, it was a favorite of mine last year. It's a favorite of mine this year. Okay, so we've got our ribbon, and I'm going to have glitter in my eyebrows when I finish. My husband always laughs and says, you know, I think you rolled in the glitter again. And he's practically right, because anything I can add glitter and bling to, I do. So it does end up getting all over me, as you can imagine. I don't know if you guys are like that. Do you feel like you have to? I think I said this to Rose once. I don't know if Rose is watching because I'm already flipped down, but I said to her, doesn't it feel like everything has to have a little bit of glitter, just a little bit of shine, a little bit of extra? And look how pretty this is. So this looks like winter to me right there. I'm going to, again, have to do it all the way to the edge, and then I can move it sideways. And I'm going to add my dimensionals again to the back because, you know what? Could I glue it right down? I practically could glue it right down. You know what? I'm going to glue this one right down because this ribbon is a little bit flatter, not as bulky. Please leave me comments. Make sure you like my video. I love the love. It encourages me to come back again and again, even when I have bloopers. Last week was a blooper, for sure. But I can't see your comments right now. I can't do two things at the same time. Maybe in the future I'll get to that, but right now I can't. So look at how pretty that is so far already. And I haven't even stamped yet. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do Love and Warmth. You know what I'm thinking? I want to do this with navy ink instead. So hang on one second. That just totally reminded me that I wanted to show you before I finish. I'm going to show you tonight's Lighthouse cards. And I'm going to show you something fun, or tell you something fun that we're going to do in our Lighthouse Point card class tonight. So stay tuned for a second. Okay, here we go. I'm going to stamp this again, Love and Warmth, but I'm going to do it in navy because I think it's going to match better. Oh, see how I got ink all over that? I'm going to be careful when I do this. I could either wipe it off. Yeah, I'm going to wipe it off. I don't really want to make a big mess of the card on camera. Let's do a better job. Just tap. And then you go straight down and just hold it there for a second. Let it make contact and hold it there for like 3 seconds. That's all you need. And then you've got a perfectly stamped image or sentiment. I a lot of times will use Memento ink because it's a little bit finer, a little bit more of a detail ink. But you can read this, so that's good. I am again going to pop that up in the corner with my dimensionals. Can you see that I'm getting down there in dimensionals? The last 3 weeks, I think I've used the bones of the dimensionals for all of my cards, which means when I get to my Lighthouse cards that I'm going to show you in a second, I'm not going to have any line dimensionals left. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do here. Once again, Love and Warmth. Oh, unfortunately, it's going to cover up this beautiful house here. Sorry about that house. I really liked that house. And then guess what I am going to use? I pulled these out. These are the wonderful snowflakes from last year. Do you remember these? Iridescent, so pretty. I'm thinking I could add a snowflake right here and make it look like winter. So it's going to look perfect for Christmas. Now you see this dimensional here? That's actually perfect dimensional size. I say dimensional, but the center of the snowflake, I mean, is actually the perfect size for dimensional. So I can take advantage of that. I'm going to go like that. And voila, I've got 2 cards done just like that. All I did to prep here was cut and score my card bases and cut out this die cut contour die. If you do that ahead, you're golden. I'm gonna get rid of all my stuff. Okay, so we've got one more card to do, and this one is going to be a spring summer one. Look at what I have. And actually, I'm not committed to this yet because I grabbed a couple more card bases as I was leaving. Whenever I score or do something for a class, I always score at 4 1/4 right down the center of the card. And then I cut the card base in half so that I end up with 2 card bases with 1 score line. Very, very handy, very easy to do, which means I usually make 1 card at a time, which means there's always usually another card base hanging out in my drawer that I can just pull just like that. And that's what I did today. I had this Pear Pizzazz card base, but then I was looking too, and I'm thinking, oh, you know, I really like this Pale Papaya. You can pull either one of these colors out of here and make it look like summer. Now, I'm not going to see your comments, so I'm just going to have to wing it a little bit and make my decision, but I am going to tell you what I did do. Once again, just like on this card, I embossed a layer. And I think, I can't remember the name of this beautiful, beautiful, I should write it in Sharpie on there, this beautiful folder, 3D embossing folder. But I thought I had already embossed a layer, and I probably left it someplace. Okay, hold on to that thought for 1 second. No, it's got to be here. Here it is. Okay, so by the magic of TV, I've already embossed it. Isn't that amazing how quick I did? I think I do like this Pale Papaya, even though you really can't see it, but let's see. Yeah, you really can't see it. Is it even worth it? I don't know. I almost don't think it is. I love this. You know what? I'm going to use this for another card down the road where I can just put a little flower here and a little embellishment right in the corner. So I'm going to save that for another time. And we're just going to use this time the Pear Pizzazz base. So, of course, I wish my grass was this color right now. Right now, my grass is so totally brown, it's not even funny. It is so hot here. I feel bad for everybody. They were saying in France and Portugal, in Spain, they're having all kinds of wildfires. And I'm sure we are they've been in Arizona, they've been in Idaho, they've been in California, all kinds of wildflowers because of the heat. It's so hot and dry. Here it's very hot and humid, but still unbearable. Okay, so here's my card here. And what I'm going to do, what I decided here is I could use 2 different, I was thinking, this is the one that I ended up going with. I love this soft seafoam ribbon. I thought I had also pulled the Pale Papaya ribbon, but that would be a little bit bulkier. So that's the only reason why I didn't go with that one. And I love how this one ties. It's a little bit slippery. It's not as slippery as the metallic ribbon, the new In Color ribbon. I have to say I'm not a fan of that new In Color ribbon. Just the way it ties. I love the colors, how vibrant they are and everything, but it is so slippery. A lot of times my bows will come loose even after I've done that. Okay, see how easy that was to tie that beautiful. Isn't that so pretty? So pretty. I've already added this to the card front. I might want to move this tiny bit so it's not right on the edge, but I have to turn it. Okay, I'm gonna go like that. Oh, love that. Really, really love that. So pretty. I think I'm gonna make a bunch of these. I have 2 sheets. You figure you have 2 sheets in every pack of this designer paper. I probably have 8 or 9 packs going. Of course, I'll use some for classes, but I probably do have 8 or 9 going. So you can get 6 out of 1 sheet. So that's 12 out of a pack. I could make 72, probably 72 cards just out of this paper. And I could change up the ribbon. I could change up the card base and have so many things. I mean, you could see navy, you can see soft suede, you can do crumb cake. Like I said, we could do the pale papaya. So many ideas of different colors. Soft succulent, I'm sure you could do mint macaron, all different colors here. Okay, so I have to, once again, stamp this label, and I'm going to stamp it with the Love and Warmth again. I could do the navy. I think this time I'm actually going to do it with Memento. I think Memento will be the best choice to match this card. So there we go. Got to stand up so I can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to show you, I don't have any big, bold, large accents for this one, but I have some fun accents for the side that I'm thinking of. So hold on tight to this. Okay, move this out of the way. I'm going to pop this up again with my dimensionals. I hope you guys don't ever throw away your sides. Like I said, a lot of times, especially these sides are great. Nice, long, and narrow. They're great for long images. And I'm going to show you something, one of my cards, and where it was perfect. So hold on tight. I'm not done yet. Okay, this one covers up the same beautiful house. What I think I want to do with this one, I grabbed these because I accidentally thought that I was ordering some of the gems, the flower gems. These are the loose flower flourishes, and I accidentally ordered an extra box. So we're going to have to use these so that they don't go to waste. And this, I think, is where the papaya might come in really nicely. And I'm not sure about this, but I'm just going to try it. Do I want to do another one? I think you're supposed to do 3 of any thing. Purple doesn't really match, does it? And the pink is definitely too bright, I think. So I think I have to do another peach one. You know, actually, maybe the purple matches. Why not? It's a little bit not quite the same, but for something a little bit different. Let's put this one like right there. Not so pretty. Wasn't exactly what I intended when I started out making this card. I actually had a different idea. If I wanted to, I don't know, I could probably put a nice gem, like an iridescent gem. I wonder if I could put one of these in the centers of those flowers. Let's try it, just for the fun of it. Since I've got it sitting right here, and I'm all for using all of my stuff, I'm going to use the Orchid Oasis and put that. Ooh, I am liking that, guys. Isn't that so pretty? So those have adhesive on it. What do I want to put? I think I'll do this green because it'll kind of match in the center of my purple flower. Oh, isn't that pretty? Now, did anybody think of adding a little tiny, these are the in color dots, the matte dots. Is that what they're called? Matte decorative dots, the in color matte decorative dots. Anybody ever think of adding that to the center? It just happened to be sitting there. Oh, runaway dot. Maybe that's why they didn't. What do you think? Isn't that so cool? So here we have 3 cards, and they all look very different just because I changed the card base, I changed the ribbon, I changed the accents, I changed the ink, you know, just a little bit of everything. And all of a sudden we've got 3 beautiful cards. And like I said, the sky's the limit with the colors that are in here that you could do. You could do early espresso with the pale papaya and soft suede. So many beautiful colors. Oh, I just love these. So pretty. So start making these so you have something to accompany your goodies when you give your Christmas gifts this year. If you don't do Christmas but you do Hanukkah, this would be perfect even for Hanukkah because you've got the snowflake. I know there aren't many Hanukkah or Jewish stamps in the catalog, and that makes me sad because I have especially one very Jewish customer, team member actually, and I'd love to be able to do more for her. But okay, so before I flip back up, I told you I was going to show you my cards for tonight's Lighthouse Point card class. Isn't this so pretty? I embossed with the cloud above the clouds folder. This is one of the dies and one of the stamps in there. What I decided to do was I first cut out the white detail die of the lighthouse, and then there's a solid lighthouse. I cut out red, and I took a piece of Daffodil Delight cardstock as well, and I cut that out at the same time. I put it right over top. This was the real red, and this is Daffodil Delight. I put this over top, laid the die, and cut it all at the same time, and we'll be able to cut down and have it look like lights behind your lighthouse there. So that's how I did that, and I did the same thing with this, with the navy and the Daffodil Delight. Of course, this uses the Oceanfront stamp set and the watercolor paper. Love how this turned out. So that's card number 2. All of my C cards tend to go back to this Oceanfront stamp set. I'm going to have a hard time letting that go when this retires. Look at this beautiful card. This was the help of Shirley, my team member. She sent me an idea and said it was mostly white with a little bit of accent of blue. Now she showed me the card. It was not a Stampin' Up! Card. But this, I cut this all out of basic white cardstock, both the detailed and the solid. Then I used my Wink of Stella to color in my windows, so there's a little bit of shine. These clouds are one of the dies that are part of it, as are these, oh, you know what? They might not be. They might be part of the Waves of Inspiration stamp set and dies, now that I think about it. These birds are part of that. And then I put this on the Stamparatus, and this is Tahitian Tide. So already that's the only stamping on this entire card except for what has to go on the inside and has not yet. And here's our 4th card. Quite a bit of stamping. I used a mask. I thought of it later, which is why there's mostly blue, and you can see a cloud. I used the cloud punch and our masking paper, and then I used our blending brush to get some blue. I stamped the birds, of course. I stamped this lighthouse. There are dies that make this lighthouse, or there is a stamp that has both the detail and the solid that you can see. I decided that the easiest way to do it was to stamp the bands first and then stamp the gray over it because you could see where it had to go. And then there's a die that cuts it out, so I did that. These are just a couple of the rocks that I just stamped over and over again in crumb cake. And then, of course, there was this blue. I saw a card similar to this, and I couldn't figure out how. So Shirley and I kind of dissected it last night. And then, of course, the real simple happy birthday, just a strip. These are one of my 1/2-inch strips that are always left over it when I cut my basic white cardstock inserts that are 4 by 5 1/4. There's always a 1/2-inch left. And I save all those strips, and it's perfect for those small, narrow sentiments, and I just kind of angled it. That's a new thing that I do now. If you're wondering about the sailboat, it is the Let's Set Sail stamp set and punch. And what I did was, do I have it here? I don't know if I can. I thought I saved the pieces, but oh, I did. When I stamped my sails, this was the 2 big sails, and I just cut them down, just cut the bottoms off, cut them down. And the same thing for the sailboat. I cut off the top with the flag. I cut that off and I cut the sides down. So it looks like it's more in the distance because it was very out of whack for the lighthouse. It was out of scale. So these are tonight's card class, and we're making ice cream because today is National Hot Dog Day. Sorry, not doing hot dogs, but it's National Ice Cream Month. So I'm going to make some homemade ice cream in my Pampered Chef ice cream maker tonight for my ladies that are coming to class. So let me flip back up. So excited that you guys could join me for another Facebook Live on Wednesday because I'm working Thursday night this week at the hospital. I'll see you next Thursday, same time, same place, 5 o'clock, with more card ideas. I hope you have a wonderful night. Stay cool. Bye.